ends.
He comes back and everyone's gone and sand party people. Wait, all the sand people have turned into mud?
Right?
Wait, that's a good place to battle him, though.
Oh.
Maybe he should have given him a heads up. Listen, sleep with water near you. Buy a waterbed.
Just place glasses of water around your house and then hit them with a baseball bat when these guys attack.
Swing away.
Oh.
What a Signs reference.
Patrick Swayze comes back in 3 weeks, everybody's dead, and little Anakin Skywalker has written in blood in his room, "You did belong here," and he's like, and then he dies. Yeah, no, him leaving did not make any sense.
And because he doesn't really want to fight. He wasn't a fighter before he went there.
No.
And a lot of these movies were like Searchers, right? Where John Wayne walks away.
Right. Or Shane.
Like in Searchers, John Wayne spent years of his life hunting down, trying to reclaim Natalie Wood. People died. He kind of lost his soul. He lost who he was. And so at the end, when he walks away from that, he was just a broken man.
Right.
So he earns his walk away. Shane, when Shane leaves, Shane earns, because the father's still around in Shane, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he doesn't want to stay because the father's around. So Shane's like, I'm going to move on because that's what's right. In this one, there's no husband.
I would say, like Rambo in Rambo 2 and 3 earns his walkaways.
Exactly. Like, because you've been there, you've done, but this one, there's no like husband. He hasn't been doing anything for years. He hasn't hunted down somebody for years. His mission hasn't been accomplished. And sand people are coming.
Definitely coming. They're definitely 100% coming.
Does he think all of them are going to slow him down and that's why he's ducking out?
I don't know. I don't know what he's. I think he's just on to the next single mother he can find.
Oh, brother. All right, hey, let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk more Steel Dawn. Be right back. Welcome back to Movies, Films, and Flicks. I love this movie. I'm very happy. I'm telling you, I think this is probably the most I've ever laughed during a podcast recording. I almost cried talking about the sand person punching somebody.
We'll call that the sand punch.
So he's like Thomas Hayden Church from Spider-Man 3.
Oh, yes. He stole it from this movie.
Yeah, the sand punch.
You're talking about the director and the producer and the writer and all this of this movie, but the composer of this movie was Brian May, not from Queen, the other Brian.
I was going to say, what?
But he also famously did the soundtrack to Mad Max and The Road Warrior. So this is like his genre, is sandy war zones.
Just lots of sand.
Yeah.
He did a good job.
Really score sand. No, and again, like, music is good, and I think the dialogue is a bit weak. It could spend some more time doing some dialogue. And I don't know if that's just Swayze not doing his thing, but I thought the villain had some good lines. The main villain kind of changed the scenery a little bit. It was larger than life, and I liked that a lot. And again, I like the world they created. I don't know. I just really enjoyed this movie, and part of it is because of the genre, part of it is because I watched it as a child, part of it is because Swayze just has some kind of like likable quality.
Do you think he wanted to be there?
So I have a theory that this movie was shooting before Dirty Dancing broke.
Oh, for sure.
And I think Swayze was definitely like, I need to take the jobs I can get. I think if he's offered this script a year later, either he says no or the budget doubles.
Yeah, exactly. Do you think this is like a case of so Renee Zellweger and Matthew McConaughey were in that Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the new generation?
They sure were.
And then they hit big with A Time to Kill and some other movies, and they fought the studio to not release it.
Yeah.
Do you think that's kind of? I mean, he couldn't do it because it hit the shelves.
Right. But I think in the hindsight, I think he doesn't celebrate this movie or didn't celebrate this movie.
Do you think? All right, which actors had a year like this with Dirty Dancing, which was massive film, and then this movie? Has there been an actor that's had a huge and a dud?
Well, would you say that Swayze's had a better film than Dirty Dancing reception-wise?
Ghost, because Whoopi Goldberg won an Oscar for that, right?
Yeah, I guess Ghost would be the one.
Not Roadhouse, not Black Dog.
Not Roadhouse.
People liked him in Donnie.
Black Dog, though? Oh, I could.
You could Black Dog it?
I could talk all day about Black Dog.
I've never watched Black Dog.
Dude, it's got Randy Travis in
it. That's a selling. That's the
and
sell.
Meatloaf.
Oh yeah, Meatloaf. Did you ever? All right. So speaking of bad sword fighting, I think it's a sword fight between Meatloaf and Michael Madsen in Blood Rain, where they're both either just so drunk or hungover that they only swing one swing each, and that's all. I think that's all they could do in that movie was one swing each.
Yeah. Well, so we saw. So I used to live in a little town called Brecon, and in like southern Ontario, we have a casino called Casino Rama, and so it's right outside Brecon. So outside this little town, there's this casino where we get all the casino acts, and so a few years ago, Meatloaf was there.
Whoa!
Right around the time that In the Name of the King 2 came out, Meatloaf was at Casino Rama. And so apparently he like nearly had a heart attack halfway through the set.
Oh, that's the video I watched.
Yeah. So he was just so like out of shape and just unable to sing because he was. And so I think that when you put someone like Meatloaf in a movie and saying now sword fight, you're not going to get a sword fight. You're going to get Meatloaf just barely standing up.
It was painful. Like, so I don't like movies that. I like movies that are when they're not like exploitative.
Right.
Have you ever watched Street Fighter: The Legend of Chun-Li?
I have.
Now, for years, I've just basically revered the performance that Chris Klein did in that film. I felt like it was next level. I thought he made a conscious decision to play that, but then I listened to the commentary, and he was 100% earnest about his performance.
Right.
And I was like, I can't watch this movie ever again because I would feel terrible making fun of it.
Right.
So that's why I had a hard time making fun of that Blood Rain scene because I'm like, I just feel bad for these guys.
No, exactly. So anyways, to answer your question about has anybody had a summer where it's been a flop and a hit? So I would say that Rambo Part 2 is the quintessential Rambo movie. I would say that First Blood, the first one, is a better movie, but I think when you think about the character Rambo, you think Rambo Part 2.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. When he goes out with the bow and arrows and just lights everybody up.
That same summer, Rhinestone was released.
Oh, brother.
So I would say maybe that year where he went from a country music singing movie with Dolly Parton and also Rambo First Blood Part 2.
Can I maybe, I'm not trying to one up you here, but I think I have one you might like. 1994. Arnold Schwarzenegger. True Lies. James Cameron. Action epic. Shows Arnold Schwarzenegger kind of playing a dork. Really acting with the family. That scene with Jamie Lee Curtis, like he showed a really different range to his performance. True Lies is an A+ action film. Then he went and did Junior, where he gives a baby, where he has a baby with Danny DeVito.
Right.
That's a big swing.
That's a big swing.
I mean, what would you say? Whose swing do you appreciate more, Rhinestone and Rambo, or True Lies and Junior?
So I want to say this. I want to say Junior is a different kind of movie.
Yeah. Than
True Lies, but I think it was done as well as that movie could have been done.
Got it. It was a bad idea.
But it was done okay.
Yeah, gotcha. The production.
Rhinestone, right. I remember watching Rhinestone and thinking, okay, this is like a music movie and they have a formula they follow, so it's going to be very, very bad, and then his final performance is going to be exquisite and he's gonna get there. Because the whole idea of Rhinestone is Dolly Parton takes a bet that she can't make Stallone, who's a cab driver, a country singer. Have you seen the movie?
I have not.
Okay. It's amazing. And how, it's awful, but it's also amazing. But the last performance when he comes out and sings, like, Stallone can't sing. Like, he can't. And so it's awful, but the crowd's like, yeah, he's so good. And they win the contest but he literally can't sing.
Wait, is Rhinestone like the opposite of She's All That?
Yes. Yes, I would say yes. That's a great way to put it.
But once you take off her glasses, she's pretty. But in this one, once you have him sing, he's not a good singer.
Right. He can't sing. He sings a song called Drinkenstein about beer, turns into a monster. And the big joke in the movie is when he says to Dolly Parton, "Hey, you, come back to my house. I'm going to show you my big organ." And then his dad, like, works at a funeral parlor and has a large pipe organ. And that's like the funny joke in the movie. Yeah, it's fantastic.
All right, I got to listen to this Drinkenstein. I don't want to watch a movie, but I'll listen to Drinkenstein. All right,
okay.
So we forgot to answer a listener question that we had from earlier, because I like, you know us, man, we just let our stuff flow, and I didn't want to interrupt
it's a real stream of consciousness.
Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt that with a question about throwing rocks. But in this movie, Tark and Swayze, they go to steal this whatever converter, and Swayze just chucks a rock via like a little leather thing, and he whaps the dude in the head with a rock. Perfect throw. So right. that led me to ask you, what are your favorite cinematic rock throwing moments? And I wrote an article about this back in the day, and it like blew up. And so when you type in best rock throwing in movies, films, and flicks is the first thing that pops up. I've cornered the market on this, so now we're going to do it even more.
So I haven't Googled it because I wanted this to be right from the heart and right from the mind.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say the Braveheart rock throw scene is maybe the best one ever.
I gotta get rid of that one, because that's when he whaps Brendan Gleeson right between the eyes.
But Brendan Gleeson throws a boulder at him.
Yep.
And then he just throws that little one and knocks him out. I should have remembered the rock. It's so good.
I love sorry to interrupt, but I love Gibson when he just kind of eyeballs where he should throw the rock. And it's a perfect throw.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What a great moment. What else you got?
That is good. There was a movie, like a teenage comedy. I think it might have been She's All That. It was one of those movies where he's trying to throw rocks on the window of the girl, and then it just blows the window and smashes it everywhere.
Not another teen movie, probably.
Right. That's what it was. And I remember just like in a movie where the laughs are forced and you're not into them, that made me crack. That one, I was like, oh, they did that well. Yeah. Because I've never been one who's like, oh, I'm gonna go to my girlfriend's house and to get her attention, throw rocks at her window. I never got that trope of, does anybody actually do that, or is that just a thing that happens in movies and we just assume it really happens sometimes?
It has to be. I've never heard of that. I mean, I'm sure it's happened, but it's definitely one of those movie tropes. Yeah. Before we get on, I just want to run. There's two quotes that I love in Not Another Teen Movie. When he goes, "Let's make like a tree and branch,"
mm-hmm.
And then when he goes, "I have a secret," SECRAPT, so he spells out Seacraft.
Right.
Like that's a good bit.
No,
but
exactly.
That's a good poll, though, man. That's a very good rock poll right there.
So, what are your favorite cinematic rock movies?
All right, so in Mom and Dad Save the World.
Okay.
Have you seen this movie?
I haven't.
Very weird movie. It's about these mom and dad people who go to another planet to rescue their kids from John Lovitz. And there's an entire scene where
already in.
John Lovitz talks to two of his guards, and he walks up to him and he goes, "Mutton chops or sideburns?" And it's one of the two. Just kind of bear with me here. Or goatee. And one of the guys was like, mutton chops? And he's like, "No, shoot yourself." And then he walks up to the other guy, "Mutton chops or goatee?" And the same guy goes, "Mutton chops." He's like, "No, shoot yourself." But there's a scene in the movie where it's Kathy Ireland and I think the dude from Wayne's World, who's one of the singers in the car. Like, one of his, if you saw him, you would know who he is.
The guy who's going to spew?
Yeah, no, not that guy. He's one of the dudes in the back seat. Because Wayne and Garth are in the front. The guy who's going to spew is in the middle of the back.
In the back middle.
Yeah, so he's either on back passenger or back driver, one of those guys.
Right.
And Mom and Dad are there, and he goes, "This is a rock." And they're like, "Well, yeah, we know it's a rock. Like, it's a rock." He's like, "This is what you do with it." He's like, "You take this rock and you pull it back like this, and then you throw it forward." He's like, "And that's throwing a rock." But then in the background, the rock just trucks a guy in the head.
Oh, that's great.
I mean, it's a really good bit about throwing rocks. There's a scene in The Incredibles that I love.